Hey, it's Adrian with you. This interview with Ian Westermann, founder of Essential Tennis, has been a while in the making, let's say. Essential Tennis is the biggest YouTube channel in the world for tennis instruction. At time of recording, they have over 100,000 subscribers, which is amazing. And this interview I recorded in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the middle of an American winter, I think it's called Midwest, right? It was but freezing cold. It was minus 20 degrees Celsius outside. But this interview was recorded over a year ago. And quite honestly, I just didn't know quite where to fit it in, because at that time, and even to this day, I mean, obviously I'm interviewing interviewing largely women. But back in those days, I just didn't quite know where to fit the interview in. And now coming into 2019, early 2019, come to the realization that it's silly to think that women have nothing to learn from men, and obviously vice versa, particularly in the business field. There are very few people who've managed to achieve what Ian has achieved, which is to take a passion, tennis, and turn it into a living. And he's not rolling in billions of dollars, but he's able to be in a position now where his business employs three full-time employees, and then some ancillary staff to handle some of the grunt work. So they do a lot of video work, and he hires some freelance video editors to do a lot of the editing work. And I just think coming into 2019, isn't this the perfect time to release this? Because so many of us, myself included, the dream is to take something that we're passionate about versus the 9-to-5 job that we hate, or at best we tolerate. Take something that we're passionate about and turn it into a living. And maybe your dream is not to make $1 million. Maybe it's just to supplement your full-time income so that you could go traveling more often or do something like that, have a slightly nicer house, slightly nicer car, afford something nicer, like better education for your kids or something nice for your spouse, whatever it is. Maybe it's to supplement your income or replace your full-time income. It's not to be rolling in millions of dollars, and that's exactly what Ian has achieved. So I loved editing this interview because frankly, it was like listening to the whole thing anew, because I recorded it a year ago, and listening to all this, it's like listening to it to me for the first time. And there are so many nuggets of wisdom in there. I really encourage you to just get a pen and paper and jot down whatever resonates with you. Because yes, he's in tennis coaching, and you may not have any interest in coaching or in tennis, or both. But the fundamentals which we talk about of taking what you're passionate about and turning it into a legitimate business, not just a YouTube channel, but a legitimate business that can employ people, are common. The fact that there are factors that are common to any industry. One of the really interesting things that you'll hear in the interviews, I ask Ian how long he thinks it would take for someone to sort of get to the stage where they're making an income from it. And you'll hear it in the interview, but he says, even if you know how to create content, and how to market it, which he says, by the way, are two very different skills, and he's dead on the money. And bear in mind that he's a pessimist. He says that, not me. He says it'll take maybe a year to get up and rolling, making an income. So coming into 2019, New Year's resolution time, if one of your resolutions is to achieve financial freedom and you're thinking about creating a business to do it, all I'm going to say is start. Start now. Don't wait for it to be perfect. It's cliche. I know you know this. We've heard this. There's no perfect time to start, but it's so important. Just start putting stuff out, even if you're not completely happy with it, because it's better done than perfect. Something that's done is 100 times better than something that's perfect but it's sitting in your head, because no one can see what's in your head, right? So get it out there, get inspired by this interview, listen to it again and again. And look, I recorded this interview over a year ago, but Ian and Essential Tennis are still around. So if you listen to this interview and you love it, you can connect with him, pick his brains. As he says, he only empties his inbox, I think he said, once every 2 weeks. But if we could all get to that stage, if I could get to that stage, that would be a huge goal. So hope you love this interview. If you have any questions or feedback, as always, let me know below, whether you're watching this on YouTube, on Facebook, listening to it on the podcast. Leave your comments below, or you can always email them to me at info@theF2Project.com. Let's get you to the interview. Hey everyone, it's Adrian from Genie Magazine, and I'm here with Ian Westermann. So hello. Ian, thank you for your time. We're on his couch as well, I should point out. So this looks familiar to any of you, that's why.
Hold the tennis ball.
Oh, here we go. Now, Ian is not a woman, obviously, and I know I normally interview inspiring women. The reason I wanted to interview Ian is because he runs a very successful YouTube channel and company, essentialtennis.com. And I know a lot of you want to make a living online, and I may be thinking about, you know, how to do it, what does it take? So, Ian, I guess let's start with how you started Essential Tennis. What was the driving force, and maybe a bit of the backstory as to how you got started in this business?
Sure. The driving force was frustration with my day job, which was teaching tennis full-time. I was a certified tennis professional. And I thought that was going to be my dream job. Yeah. And I would say, you know, honestly, probably 70% of it, you know, was 60, 70% of it I was very happy with. And I mean, I definitely counted myself as very blessed, you know, lucky person to be around what I loved, which was tennis, and get paid for it. That was, you know, basically my goal. Yeah. But little things, you know, started to nag at me, and I didn't have the independence that I wanted, and a certain percentage of my clientele were not they just didn't share my enthusiasm and passion for actually learning and working and, you know, making best use out of our time on the court. So so I started publishing content online. To begin with, I didn't really have I had no idea where it was going to go, but I saw other people online who had knowledge in other areas, publishing content, growing an audience around that, and then offering products, etc.
And how long ago was that the whole thing started?
2008. April of 2008 is when I first started publishing content. Right. And April of 2011 is when I was able to quit my teaching job and start focusing on the website full-time.
Brilliant. So you started, so it's been around about 8 years.
In total, yeah.
Right. Yep. And then, so you started putting up online content, and then what were the steps that sort of happened from there? Was it gradual? Was it overnight explosion? How did it go?
The growth curve of what I've been doing, it has been flat since the day I started.
Flat like this, right? Not flat, like completely flat.
Flat meaning the growth trend has been gradual, but
predictable,
straight, yeah. And there's been a lot of plateaus in there as well. It hasn't been constant growth, but very predictable growth. I'd love to tell you that, you know, there was this one day where I published a certain piece of content, and that was like the secret ingredient.
Yeah, and then it exploded overnight.
Yeah, it has yet to happen, and maybe it'll never happen. Maybe it will. I don't know. Of course, I'll take it if it does. But frankly, I'm not expecting it. I think those are the kind of things that so many different factors have to all line up at the same time correctly. Yeah. And frankly, it's probably out of my control whether or not it happens. As long as I'm putting in the work and doing what I know I can do on my end, then
that's all you can
I'll take whatever whatever comes my way.
For sure. Let's just go over some numbers quickly so people know what we're talking about. So how many subscribers are there roughly on the YouTube channel? Do you know exactly?
Yeah, we're at 76,000 and change, I think, on the YouTube channel.
Wow, right. And do you know... Hello, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
Jack, do you want to come up here? Roughly, how many views are some of your videos getting? Because I've seen some of them have gone really, really big.
Thanks, Jack. We have a couple of videos that have received over 1 million views. Not a lot.
1 million views?
Yep.
Wow, and that's not a lot.
No, not a lot of videos have.
Okay, all right, because 1 million sounds like a lot to me.
I mean, I've published well over 1,000 videos, and we maybe have 4 that have hit 1 million views. So we have a couple at that level, but our most popular tutorials are, you know, a couple 100,000, you know, view range. Yeah. We have 24 million, I think, total views on YouTube. Right.
And I should say, it's also not just YouTube where you do your business. It's also you've monetized on the back end. Obviously, you have all the social media channels as well. Can you tell the viewers just quickly what other things you do in order to make it a business and not just sort of a hobby?
Yeah, YouTube is actually probably 5% of our revenue
Yeah.
directly from that platform. The basic business model is we have audiences in all different places online. Our primary goal is to get them on our email list, and then from there we market courses and programs to them. Most of them are digital. We have 13 or 14 courses. Most of those are one-time purchase. We also have a monthly continuity program, coaching program, and we also occasionally do things in person. We'll do a clinic or instructional getaway kind of thing. Which
I was talking to Ian about before, and they look absolutely fantastic. One of them, you have a private chef. Is that correct?
Yeah, we have our own house, 8-bedroom or 8-suite house in Costa Rica with private chef and our own courts and pool and everything. I don't remember how. It's like 10,000 square foot place. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's what is it, tennis in paradise?
We don't mess around. Yeah, that's the name of it.
So you mentioned briefly how you created the business. Did you sort of come up with that business model by happenstance and you modeled your way through? Did you have a mentor? Did you read an online course into how to grow the business, or how did you take it from just a YouTube channel to actually a viable business?
Yeah, all those things are accurate. I've always paid close attention to other people, other creators and publishers, and a lot of different spaces. I love studying other people who are creating content and creating an audience and business around that. So yeah, I'm always getting ideas from other creators. Early on, I was definitely mentored by Will Hamilton at FuzzyYellowBalls.com. He was the first one to kind of pioneer this model in the tennis space, and I followed very closely behind him. We happened to be close to each other geographically, and we were really close those first couple of years that we were both growing. So that was really instrumental. And yeah, I definitely have it's always kind of changing, but I have select people in the internet marketing space or internet business kind of experts that I follow as well, including courses and that sort of thing. So yeah, I have a ton of influences across a very wide range of different places.
Sure. How would you say tennis does in terms of embracing the internet and new technology and digital content? Is tennis up there and really embracing it? Is tennis lagging a bit behind? Is it somewhere in the middle?
It's way behind.
That is an honest answer.
Yeah. If I can make it in tennis, granted, I have a worldwide audience. Tennis is popular, all over the world. Not to the level of soccer, obviously, football, but kind of similar in that it's played in
everywhere.
Every corner of the world that I'm aware of. So I'm very fortunate in that sense. But the adaptation of tennis players and instructors and the business, the industry in general, is very slow online. So
why is it slow?
I don't know. Yeah, we were talking about this the other day. I don't have the answer to that.
But it's advantage you, right?
Yeah, it's a plus and it's a minus. It's it's annoying, at times, because I very much feel kind of responsibility in pushing the envelope in content and in. I'm certainly not a leader in most of the platforms I'm publishing online as far as like audience size, but as far as video content, I view us as a leader or a pioneer in tennis, specifically. So I feel a lot of responsibility to and I enjoy that role, kind of pushing the envelope and pushing things forward. So on one hand, it can be a little annoying. Other people in the traditional tennis market really have no idea what we do or how or why. Oh yeah, so that can be annoying. But on the other hand, it's a big opportunity for us because we're one of just a small group of people that are trying to even do it at all in tennis.
For sure.
And we got such a jump start as far as when I began publishing. So we're in a good position.
Yeah. Now, Ian also has his, it's an office, it's also a giant studio set up here, and he's got the lights and the camera and all the fancy tech, and you obviously have staff now as well. When you made that jump, when did you make that jump from being that person who did everything himself to setting up the camera and editing and setting up the lights?
to actually employing full-time staff, and why did you do that, and how did it help, and how has it sort of transformed Essential Tennis from a one-man to like a full-on operation?
Yeah, I started getting help from, at first, just independent, contractors, initially with video work.
Yeah.
I didn't hire my first full-time person until about 2 years ago. And now we're at 3 full-time people plus, miscellaneous contractors. The reason why I did it was because I came to the realization that if I wanted to grow significantly beyond what I was doing by myself, I couldn't do everything myself, at least not at the level of quality that I would expect from myself or the brand that I was trying to build. So that's it in a nutshell, why I started looking for outside help and people to come in and actually join me in my pursuit of reaching more people.
And what has that enabled you to do, having staff that can maybe take on some of the other creative aspects and editing aspects and technical aspects? What has that freed you up to do?
Well, most of what I focus on now is marketing. It's promotional stuff, planning, promotions and sales, writing sales copy and emails and that sort of thing. Basically, what I do in a nutshell is I focus on revenue.
Yeah.
And also content development from a paid side of things, so course development and that sort of thing I spend a lot of time on. And of course, I'm still in front of the camera quite a bit as well.
Sure.
Doing tutorials and shooting those courses.
Yeah.
So I would say what I spend most of my time on now is paid content development and business development.
Right.
And then the people that I'm working with help facilitate that by doing all the production and editing and publishing, and also social media channels and that sort of thing. So all of us have our own roles that are for the most part very separate, and so we have our own specialized areas which I think is really important.
Yeah. Okay, so here's $1 million question. If someone's watching and they want to sort of do what you do and they have this dream of creating an online company, maybe not in tennis, but in whatever space, and they're at scratch, they're starting from scratch, what steps would you say they'd have to go through to get to the point where they can maybe also leave their day job and not make millions of dollars necessarily, but have the freedom to leave the day job alone and focus on doing what they really, really love? So where would you start?
Do they already know what the topic is?
Yeah, let's say that they know where they want to go. So it could be another sport, it could be cosmetics, it could be following the celebrities, but where would you tell them to start?
I would say pick a medium first, meaning audio, written, or video, and decide which one of those you're right now most apt to create engaging, interesting content. It doesn't matter which one. There's people that are wildly successful in all of those. Of course, video is kind of the most attractive right now.
Yeah.
I would say in just about every niche. But figure out which medium works best for you right now, and then pick the platform where the most of your potential audience, people who love the same thing that you love, are currently hanging out. And then publish that medium on that platform on a schedule as frequently as humanly possible. And then do that for like 6 months, and then ask me whatever your next question is.
Right. What time frame? Because I know people are going to go, I want to make money from this. What time frame roughly? Or can you even answer that question? Like before they can start making some money, not just like from YouTube revenue, for example, but actually start monetizing courses off of the back end or whatever it is. Is there a time frame, or is it completely dependent on like how often you publish, or random? Or
it's totally dependent. I would say the biggest variables are do you have any marketing or sales or business experience already, especially online? If the answer is no, if we're really just starting from square one, then this is a significant learning curve. Figuring out your voice and your style and your delivery within whatever medium that you select, within whatever platform you select, is its own big learning curve. If you don't have people's attention, if you don't have audience, then you it doesn't matter how amazing your product is or your service is, you have nobody to sell to. So in my mind, starting to develop the audience first and learning how to create content that is worthy of an audience is its own big learning curve. Once you have the audience, the skill of developing a product or service that they actually care about, and then the skill of presenting it in a way that they actually are motivated and inspired to buy it is a wildly different skill than creating the audience. It's completely, it's apples and oranges. And so
so you need to have both.
You can't have one without the other. You have to have both. And they're both their own very big learning curve. So how long does it take? Well, does this person have content experience already? Are they already a writer? Are they already a whatever broadcaster? Do they already do audio, whatever? Do they already? So that's big learning curve number one. And the big learning curve number two is the actual product development and sales and marketing. Do they already have that? Me having created so much content and sold so much stuff already, if I was going to start from square one and go to another market right now, I could, I mean, it depends on the market. I could,
but the same fundamental steps, right? And some of the skills are very transferable. A lot of the skills.
Skills are completely transferable. Assuming I had some knowledge and whatever that other market was, I could, I could create revenue or income very quickly, probably within a couple months. But if I'm square one, starting with no content development,
no
experience or skills, no marketing or sales skills, I mean, honestly, like if you bust your ass and this is all, like you're obsessed about it and it's all you do is figure out how to get good at those two things, then maybe a year making some revenue.
So it's not overnight is the key.
No,
because I think a lot of people think it make one video, it's overnight viral, and then you're rolling in money.
No.
If only it was that. If only it was like
I mean, there might be like lightning strikes, kind of thing every now and then, where somebody just has the charisma and the personality, and they just happen to be, and I just happen to have this thing I can give to you and while you're paying attention.
So it's kind of right place, right time kind of thing.
For the average person, forget about overnight. For the average person starting with none of those skills, I would say forget about, within a year even.
So
honestly,
it's hard work still.
Absolutely. For me now, or
just in general, because I think a lot of people think YouTube is the easy way out, but it's still a lot of hard work.
I mean, right? I would say it's harder now than it ever has been. In a way, it's easier because there's many more people tuning in to YouTube on a daily basis, but harder in the sense that every day there's more and more people creating content. And so back when I started 8 years ago, especially in a smaller, more specialized niche, just the fact that I was publishing anything got me an audience. Because it was like novel. It's like, oh wow, somebody's doing tennis on internet video. Like, this is cool. Like, I should watch this. But now there's 8 or 10 like legitimate choices between me and my other people in my market. And so for me to continue growing, we have to be excellent at everything that we do. And that goes for anybody who wants to jump in our market. If you want to ever pass me up, you better be damn good at it, because we're getting better and better every day. And so I think that the internet at large it's the trend. Yes, there's more people watching, but because there's so many more creators,
there's a lot more
you have to be that much better at it to actually get people's attention. If you're not engaging, if your content is not good quality now, then it's very easy to find some other content that is good in whatever you want to talk about. It didn't used to be that way, but it is now.
Tell us a bit about creating that engaging content. I mean, you've created how many videos on the YouTube channel now? Over 1,000.
YouTube channel is over 1,200 videos.
Wow.
I've been in front of a camera for well over 1,000 videos.
What's the secret, you think, to creating? Let's focus on video content for a bit. What's the secret to creating engaging video content? Is it just charisma? Is it practice? Is it focusing on like certain things? Is it having a teleprompter? Like, what would you say is a secret to creating a video that people go, yeah, I want to watch that, versus, oh my God, this is just terrible.
It's not a teleprompter.
It's not, I was gonna say, yeah, it's not a teleprompter.
Charisma. You can be any personality and create engaging content. Let me start with that.
Right.
You don't have to be like super energetic and like outgoing and extroverted to create good content. That's definitely not true. I would say the single most important thing is connection with the person you're speaking to.
Right.
And it is just like having a conversation with somebody in person. There needs to be a sense that you care about what you're doing, and you care about the person who's watching, and you actually would like to see them succeed.
And that helps if you genuinely care versus
that's
you
what
pretend.
I mean.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
We all know. So yeah, if you don't genuinely care, then you're already going uphill at that point. And so other things, like you need to be able to empathize with your target audience, and then be able to communicate to them from a place where you're trying to serve them. And you do it in a way that is succinct and to the point, or if it's not to the point, it better be really entertaining.
Yeah.
One of those two. If you look at your phone, for example, and you just take a look at your home screen with all the 12 or 16 main icons on there, they fulfill one of two things: either a utility, they have a very specific use, whether that be alarm clock or Google Maps or whatever, or it's entertainment, YouTube app or Snapchat or whatever.
So you really got to either be, or both, either useful or entertaining, one or the other.
Or as I'm coming to believe, ultimately a combination of both.
Yeah.
If you can be entertaining and extremely practically useful, and you give your audience something that improves their life by empowering them to play better tennis or be more successful in business or knit faster, whatever it is.
That'd be an interesting.
You can take that one. It's out there.
Yeah.
And you can be entertaining, then you've got something really special. If you can just do one or the other really well, then great. Like I would say that's enough to start actually gaining a following and gaining subscribers.
Yeah.
But ideally, try to develop both.
Yeah. On the subject of getting it out there and touching people's lives, improving their lives, can you tell us some of the stories maybe about people who've reached out to you and said, not just that you've improved my game, but that, you've actually improved my life in some way through tennis? Because people come up to you, I'm imagining it, especially at the tennis tournament, to go, oh, you're that guy, you've done this. So can you tell us some of those stories?
Yeah, it's definitely some of the more gratifying. I mean, at first it was just cool just to
be recognized.
See if it would happen. Like, oh wow, somebody actually knows who I am.
Celebrity
in a somewhat public place. But yeah, the most obviously the most gratifying interactions are from people who have a deep sense of gratitude for what we're doing. And tennis is just like any other hobby or pastime. People do it as an escape from all kinds of different things. And I would say that's like the most common reoccurring theme from people who are really deeply grateful for what we do and how we help them. It's the common theme is a story of my mother passed away, or I had cancer, and I needed something to go and take my attention away from that, and this tennis was my outlet to go focus on something that was fulfilling and gratifying and healthy, and so whatever it is that you're tennis might seem like an innocuous thing that maybe something that is not very fundamentally important, but for the people who all kinds of people are doing it for very important, fulfilling reasons.
Yeah.
So those are the people that when they take what we teach and they go and they're successful with it, have a high level of gratitude for what we're doing. And so those are definitely the best stories to hear. For
sure. And I know that the tagline, if that's the right word for Essential Tennis, remind me, you know it better than I do, it's passionate.
Passionate instruction for passionate players.
So how important is passion to what you do and just to life in general? Because everyone I've interviewed has their own take on passion, and for pretty much all of them, passion is an essential ingredient. Let's say they feel that they need to do what they love, and if they're not doing what they absolutely love, there's almost no point. So where do you fall on the subject of doing something you're passionate about versus just doing something?
Yeah, it's a super cliche word, which is kind of too bad, especially in the whole internet business.
It is thrown around a lot.
You know, like development,
Yeah.
you know, personal development
Yeah.
space. That's kind of a shame. Like the word has been kind of devalued, I think,
Yeah.
because it's just so commonplace now.
Yeah.
But I like the word fulfillment, or personally gratifying or fulfilling. Yeah, this was a bit, you know, a big part of bringing other people on is I get to narrow my focus more and more and more to spend time on just what it is that I like to do the most. Do you know who Casey Neistat is? He's a YouTuber. You should start following him when we're done with this.
Sure.
In an interview with him, he defined success from his perspective as not spending any time doing things that you hate.
I've heard a similar definition before, yeah.
And I guess that's kind of the way I look at it. And that was the whole reason why my motivation to begin Essential Tennis was I was spending time every day doing things that I hated, and that really just kind of ate at me inside. And so with each passing day, my just kind of natural direction is to continue distilling down what I do to make it more and more. When I get out of bed in the morning, Monday, literally, again, kind of cliche, but Monday is literally my favorite day of the week because it's the start of it's a new start of getting to be able to pursue what I want to do every day. I mean, there's what I do on a daily basis. There's no better. I've created my own, somehow created my own like alternate reality where I get to do exactly what I want to do every day, and so you could call that,
Yeah.
I guess I'm coming at it from a way more practical, description, but that's essentially what it is.
For sure. Success, in terms of success, fulfillment, and you talked about where you want to get to, where's the vision for Essential Tennis for yourself for a year or 5 years? I guess, when are you going to be, this is probably weird, because when are you going to be satisfied or knowing that I've achieved my goal, yes, I've made it? Is there a certain target somewhere that you're going to hit, or is it just a case of continually improving it, taking it as far as it will go?
I hope I'm never satisfied, because if that day ever came, then I would go do something else.
Yeah.
What's the point at that point? If I'm not, growing and developing, and the business is not growing and developing, then at that point I have no interest in it. So there is I'm kind of anti-goal in a way, because there's this I've heard it termed as arrival fallacy, like thinking that there's this thing like 1 million subscribers or $1 million in a year or whatever. Oh man, when I get to that, then I'll be successful. Then I'll know that I've made it.
Yeah.
But then inevitably, as humans, we get there and it's like, all right, well, now what?
Yeah.
There needs to be that next thing, and so there can kind of be a letdown in a way to get to that, whatever that carrot was that you put in front of yourself, if it's not just continually revamped and revisited. And so goal setting, in a sense, that's kind of a big part of it, I suppose. But I'm more so concerned with auditing myself on a daily basis and paying attention to, in the moment, am I fulfilled and enjoying what I'm doing from minute to minute and from hour to hour? As long as that's true, then I count myself as incredibly successful. And it's not that I don't have like aspirations to change, like blow things up and change the world and all that. That's definitely, in my far off, vision. But it's not like what I put in front of myself to motivate me. My daily motivation is wanting to do what I'm doing that day. And so from that perspective, I think I try to stay very present. Yeah,
that's nice. Do you see what you do as work?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of focus. Even though I really do enjoy what I'm doing, it is very hard work. But I do it because I enjoy it, and so it's kind of a catch-22 in a way. I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. I would go do something else, and so. Yeah, I think that's the end of my stream consciousness in that.
Let's just talk tennis for a bit since we have you on the couch, your couch again. What's your favorite shot?
Like in my game?
For you, yeah. Or what's your best shot?
Probably my volleys. Taking the ball out of the air close to the net is probably the most reliable and best executed.
That's old school.
Part of my game.
Not many people come to the net anymore.
My teacher was old school as a kid. My forehand ground stroke is also very, it's probably the most aggressive and confident shot when it's on, but it has ups and downs. My volley is probably the most reliable.
It's bank.
If I had to take one thing, it's definitely.
What about the flip side? What's the shot?
My backhand ground stroke.
Really?
It's terrible. Yeah.
Is it a one-hander?
Yeah.
And Ian is left-handed. This is the thing with all you tennis YouTubers. You're all left-handed. It's a weird phenomenon.
There's certain, like presidents of the United States are way disproportionately left-handed. I think, left-handed people are right hemisphere thinkers, which
I've
is
heard that.
The more abstract, creative.
I've heard that.
And so when it comes to entrepreneurship, I think it's definitely an
Get
asset.
left-handed.
Yeah.
Who do you think the greatest player on the men's side is? Greatest of all time?
Oh, of all time? Jeez. That's such a loaded debate.
Exactly. Just give us the simple answer.
Roger Federer.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about on the women's side?
Of all time?
Yeah.
Steffi Graf by a nose.
Over Serena?
Ahead of Serena, yeah.
Right, okay. Where do you see professional men's tennis going maybe over the next 12 months? I mean, you got this situation where Federer hasn't played for a while. Djokovic won all 4 Grand Slams, but now he's back off a bit and Murray's catching up to him. Do you think we're going to see a changing, or have we already seen a change of that big 4 and new blood's going to come in, or is that big 4 going to reassert its dominance? Where do you see the tennis landscape going?
I don't think it's quite ready for full turnover yet.
Yeah.
And I see it as big 3, by the way, not big 4.
Oh, okay. Who's the big 3?
Murray doesn't deserve strict results based, which is, how else do you judge besides prize money, I guess. Results based, it's Federer and Djokovic and Nadal.
Right.
So I see it as a big 3, and I don't see. Nadal is definitely the straggler right now. Federer's getting old and having for the first time ever some physical issues. So Nadal, Federer, probably definitely on the downside of their career, but they're still unbelievable competitors and athletes. And so I think probably another 12 to 18 months.
Yeah.
And then we'll see some of the young guns start to make more of a move into the top 10.
Who would you be keeping an eye on with those young guns?
I don't watch enough tennis. I don't know.
It's interesting. Neither really do I. But I'm hearing certain names crop up.
Yeah, Team and who else? Taylor Fritz was a big one.
Yeah.
I can't think of anybody else off the top of my head.
What about the women's scene? So you've still got Serena going. We got a new world number 1 now recently in Kerber. And apparently Sharapova's ban has been reduced. She's going to come back at the French Open. Where do you see the women's scene going over the next 12 months?
Still it's the Serena show until she retires.
Yeah.
She should win every match that she plays, on paper. Obviously she's not going to win every match because she's human and her interests and attention are very split off the court. So I think that, in my opinion, that's a big factor for her. But yeah, women's tennis is really volatile compared to men's, and frankly, for that reason, I've never watched a lot of it. I don't have time to watch much tennis in general.
You're too busy working, teaching people tennis.
Yeah, so honestly, I don't spend a lot of time keeping up on the tour. And when I do, sorry if this sounds bad, but generally I'm watching the men, just because I like their playing style better.
Yeah.
I think it's more. It's a higher percentage style of play, and so I enjoy watching that more. But yeah, on the women's side, like I said, Serena show until she retires. At that point, it's probably anybody's game.
Have you got a call on how long she'll keep going?
A
year,
man,
2 years.
I couldn't see her going past 2 years.
Right.
Yeah, I would say the same time frame. I would say 12, 18 months, probably for her. Maybe doubles for longer than that.
Yeah.
But singles, I'd be surprised if 2 years from now she was yeah,
It's
let's
quite
say
a long
over
time.
yeah 2 years from now.
Yeah.
Like 2 full seasons.
Yeah, for sure. If people want to get in touch with you for tennis instruction or whatever else, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I mean, if you're looking for digital instruction, then just go to essentialtennis.com.
Yeah, let's stick with that, essentialtennis.com.
Yeah, I'm not super hard to get a hold of, but depending on, email, I only respond. I only clean up my inbox like every other week.
Oh God, I wouldn't want to see your inbox be 1,000 unread emails.
Well, this is why I have people helping me. Because in 2 weeks maybe it's 40 messages, and everything else is all taken care of.
Right.
Which is
that's got to be a lovely feeling.
I don't spend time doing things I hate, Adrian.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think I got to take a lesson from that.
And,
all right.
And batching is huge.
Yeah.
If you're replying to all your emails every day, then I mean, let's be real. I mean, out of those 10 emails, probably at most one of them was actually necessary to reply to immediately.
That's very true. It's a giant time sink. All right, let's head to the wrap up. So we have our 10 questions, which I didn't tell you what they were yesterday. So let's go into them. All right, so number 1, what is your favorite word?
Favorite word? I like present. And I like fulfillment. I like the word process. That's got it. Process I like a lot.
That's an unusual one. Process.
Definitely top 3 right there for me.
The big 3.
Yeah.
All right. What about number 2? What is your least favorite word?
Can't or won't. Negativity is. I'm kind of a pessimistic person, but at the same time, But at the same time, once I decide to spend time on something, there's no, there's no time to make excuses. I hate excuses.
Yeah.
Can't or won't.
Yeah.
Work well in single word form.
Yeah. What turns you on?
People doing what they love to do. People who are, again, using the word present and making the most of each moment. Yeah. Every day, as opposed to, I mean, my biggest frustration in my traditional job was people who would show up and not. I felt like I had so much, I could help them so much. I had so much knowledge and like enthusiasm for the time that we could potentially spend together. Yeah. But the people who frustrated me the most didn't want to listen. They didn't want to try. And people will pay money and show up and not. I've never understood that one. So I guess apathy is like my biggest turnoff, I would say. Yeah, I go with so that the opposite. What's the antonym of apathy? We'll have to look that up.
I'd say passionate, but we probably use the word too much already.
Avoid it. So I guess that would be my biggest turn on.
So that's the next question was turn off. So probably apathy.
Yeah,
we'll go with that one. Final answer.
Care.
Yeah.
I have a hard time. I have a hard time empathizing with that. Honestly, I mean, I understand people. Life can be hard, and we can get beat down and put in difficult situations. I understand, but.
Just long term as a way of
personal
being.
Responsibility, and I'm big on doing what it takes to make things happen. It's easier for some people than others. I'm not ignorant to that. Yeah. But apathy.
What sound or noise do you love?
Oh man, clean contact in any striking sport. I played golf for a while. There's a very specific sound that a cleanly struck golf ball makes.
I have no idea what that sound is, by the way.
Off of a hard iron, surface, and a hard golf ball. When they meet perfectly, it's a soft but violent sound.
You smile as you say violent. It's slightly disturbing.
No, it's incredible, and the feeling, the tactile feeling, is amazing. And same thing in tennis. Sound. Yeah, I'd have to say that. Like I love mechanics and technique. Biomechanical movement and that sort of thing. So when I'm watching somebody who can execute to a high degree of precision and cause one object to strike another object perfectly, like the sound and the look and the feel of that is
Yeah.
like, it's like amazing to me.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to mind.
I've tried golf. I've never experienced that, but I understand what you mean.
Yeah, I've experienced it a few times out of thousands of repetitions.
Yeah. What about what sound or noise do you hate?
Crying baby.
At any particular time or just in general?
I mean, 3 a.m.
Ouch.
Or on a plane, especially when it's my child.
Or I should say Ian has 2
Yeah,
kids. He's not just yelling at babies in public.
No, I mean, my children is the worst in public. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And rarely happens. I mean, I have great kids, and my wife is home full time with them. You know, she does an amazing job. So it's rarely something we have to deal with. But I would say my kid, and they're old enough now, 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Flying with an 18-month-old. Absolutely terrible.
Don't do that.
And I'm like, it really introverted, you know, believe it or not. Like I hate being the guy or like the family that everybody is like.
Yeah.
Like that's the absolute worst, like social anxiety for me, probably. Being stuck in a tube, you know, flying through the air with a crying baby.
It's odd that you say you're introverted, given what you do here. That's an interesting.
I'm super introverted. I really don't like most people. And I mean,
the truth is coming out.
Totally, honestly, like socially, like most of the time I'd rather be observed and be quiet.
Yeah.
Than I hate talking just for talking's sake. For me, it's just
I completely get it. Yeah. Here's the interesting one. What is your favorite curse word?
I mean, the one I use most now is damn, and I've slipped into that. Honestly, I really don't.
Wow.
I really don't. You can ask, you know, my team.
Oh, get the real answer.
Yeah, I mean, you can
That's
ask,
a very mild one.
I really don't. I don't curse much, and I try to avoid it. I feel a little like embarrassed that I say damn it now. But I pretty much, you literally never use the F word in my life.
Wow. Is that a product of where you're from, like in the Midwest? Is that?
I mean, I came from really, really conservative family, but yeah, I don't know, just personal thing. Like, I definitely agree with, like, I've heard other people describe sentiment that if you have to resort to swearing, like if that's the only way you can get your feelings across, like there's much more precise and eloquent ways to describe frustration than just reaching for the easiest four-letter word. And that's not my biggest motivation. Like, I'm a very like straight-laced kind of in some ways, in other ways I'm not.
I didn't mention that, but Ian is Kirby's boss, who I interviewed earlier, and I think Kirby feels differently about cursing and swearing than you do.
Yeah, James and I are like, James probably swears less than I do.
Yeah.
My brother, he does all of our video production. Kirby and Ira just let it fly. So we have a really interesting, like...
So on law of averages, you're somewhere in the middle, but you're really like this.
Oh, we're at extremes, yeah. Definitely an interesting dynamic.
That's really funny.
In the office.
Okay, what profession other than your own would you most like to attempt?
I could see myself eventually transitioning towards business coaching and like consulting, development, internet business. I think I'd enjoy that. If I didn't get into tennis, I would have loved to be in music somehow, or I think I would have been a really good golf instructor also. So
there's a few options there.
One of those three. I mean, that ship has sailed for me. The music part of it.
I don't know about that. It's never too late to pick it up.
Golf, I probably could still be a good golf instructor, and business coaching, I think I'll be good at if or when I move to that.
Yeah. What profession other than your own would you not like to attempt?
Oh man, childcare.
This is a recurring theme here.
Yeah, I mean, God bless, especially like infant to first, second grade. I mean, I don't know. I would say my daughter's first grade now. I mean, and granted she's, in my opinion, an exceptional first grader, very respectful and etc. So she's relatively easy, but I'd say infant through like 4 or 5 year old, just really, really hard. The level of patience is unless you have children, or you're a teacher, you know, or a childcare person, you just don't understand. You just don't know. You don't understand.
But you've coached children as part of tennis, right?
Yeah,
I mean, tennis coaches need to be very patient as well when they're dealing with the younger spectrum.
And kids were my least favorite, honestly. You don't want me to teach your kids because I'm not.
This is great advertising.
I'm not good at like having fun just for the sake of making it interesting.
Yeah.
And, like having I'm too serious. I want to get stuff done. I want to be focused, and so kids are the opposite of that. So when I shut my brain, my work brain off, and I go home, like I can, to a certain extent, cut loose, relative for me, but it's still not my natural like state. Is goofing around.
Well, who's your ideal student then? So it's not children. What student do you find it most fulfilling?
Any age, gender doesn't matter, age doesn't matter.
What a mindset.
Level, I would say level for me, beginner through, my sweet spot is probably beginner through, advanced, intermediate, like 4.5, 5.0.
Yeah.
So basically amateur players. But anybody who just has a real hunger for improvement and not it's the motivation. If they're motivated, then I'm all in. Again,
and if they're not,
apathy,
it doesn't matter.
being on the other side of it.
Completely understand.
You can pay me enough money now
I agree.
to spend time with those people.
Final question: if God exists, what would you like to hear him or her say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Well, I do believe God exists.
Okay.
I wish I could tell you where this is in the Bible, but the phrase is "Well done, good and faithful servant."
Wow, a lot of people. That's nice. A lot of people actually said just like, "Well done." You've expanded on that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I know I fall well short of what I should be, but we that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But yeah,
save that for next time.
Yeah,
the confessional couch.
Yeah. I think that's the best answer I can give.
Yeah, I love it. All right, well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you for spending time with us at essentialtennis.com. Check it out. Thanks for watching, and we'll speak to you next time.
Cheers.
Hey, it's Adrian. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to click here to subscribe. Or if you'd like to check out more of our videos, then click here. And also make sure to follow us on all our socials right here. Speak to you next time.